Samsung's mid-range A series is a curious line. At the price point of flagship offerings from Chinese brands, Samsung have their premium-looking yet mid-range internal sporting phones. Given that there are a lot of people who'd rather stick with Samsung than go for a Chinese brand like OnePlus or Xiaomi, it seems to make a lot of sense from Samsung's perspective. So today in this video, let's take a look at one of these A series phones, the 2017 edition of Samsung's new Galaxy A7. So we've got two questions. Should you consider this phone if you're looking to buy one in this price segment? Should you consider this if you're looking to buy a Samsung phone in this price segment? These are questions we're going to be trying to find answers to in this video. But before we get to that, if this is your first time here or in case you just can't remember, my name's Ash, you're watching C4eTech. Well, this is a full review of the 2017 edition Samsung Galaxy A7. Let's get started. As always, let's start with the built-in design. The A7 2017 looks almost like a bigger Galaxy S7 but without the shiny reflective back. While this back might look like plastic, it is actually Gorilla Glass, 3D glass to the back and 2.5D glass to the front to be precise. It does pick up smudges, but the A7 does indeed feel premium in hand. By the way, this is one of the first Galaxy A phones to sport a IP68 certification, so it is just as water and dust resistant as the flagship Galaxy S7. Next up, let's take a close look at the button placements. The 3.5mm headphone jack, primary microphone and a USB Type-C port are present at the bottom. To the left, we've got the volume rockers and a tray. This is for SIM1. Up top, we've got the secondary noise cancelling microphone and another tray. This is for SIM2 and microSD. I like Samsung's decision to not go with a hybrid setup here. The power button and the speaker is located to the right. To the front, on top, we've got the sensors, earpiece and a 16 megapixel front-facing camera. That's followed by Samsung branding and a 5.7-inch display. At the bottom, we get the regular physical home key with a fingerprint scanner built in, flanked by the recent tabs and back keys that are backlit. This is an active fingerprint scanner, so you don't have to press the key to wake the device. It is considerably slower than other scanners, but it does work quite well. As long as this is the only phone that you're using, you'd probably get used to it sooner rather than later. To the back, we've got Samsung branding and above that, a 16 megapixel camera with a single LED flash. The A7 is just 7.9mm thick and yet this camera doesn't protrude. Overall, Samsung seems to have done a good job with the build. Well, my back did crack from a fall on concrete. Just a stationary phone toppling due to the wind while I was trying to get a B-roll shot for the unboxing. I'd chalk that up to my fault rather than Samsung's. But in the interest of fairness, I just wanted to mention that here. Anyway, the A7 2017 sports a Gorilla Glass covered 5.7-inch display with a full HD resolution. 1080p when spread across 5.7 inches results in a pixel density of about 385 pixels per inch. While not the sharpest, it definitely is sharp enough for most tasks. Whether it's watching videos or playing games, this display looks great. Given it's a Super AMOLED panel, the contrast is excellent, deep inky blacks, punchy colors. They can be toned down to more natural levels if you so want to. Given that this panel gets quite bright, the sunlight legibility is also top notch. Underneath the hood, this A7 is powered by a 64-bit Snapdragon 7880 chip. This contains 8 Cortex A53 cores clocked up to 1.9 GHz each, coupled with the Mali T830 MP3 GPU, 3 gigs of RAM and 32 gigs of onboard storage. The benchmark scores are a little lower than the Snapdragon 625. That's understandable given that the cores are clocked lower here. But just like the 625, the 7880 is also built on the 14nm FinFET process. With day-to-day intense scenarios like gaming, the A7 had little trouble running any game we threw at it. The speaker placement though to the right is kind of weird because I did end up covering it quite a few times, especially while gaming. Anyway, the quality of the speaker itself is quite loud and clear. Audio via the 3.5mm headphone jack was good too. I faced no issues with cellular reception or call quality. The Indian variant should have support for VoLTE out of the box. My imported unit didn't though. There's a 3600 mAh battery backing all this up, and the battery life here was good. With my regular kind of usage, I was able to get through a day on a single charge on each of the 5 days that I used the A7 2017 as my primary device. Well, I usually prefer to spend a week to 10 days with each phone that I review. Over here, given how similar, how almost identical the A5 and the A7 are, I used each of them for 5 days, and I guess that kind of qualifies as 10 days of testing. Anyway guys, jokes apart, turning off the always on display functionality does help improve the battery life a little bit. And now on that note, let's move on to the cameras. The A7 2017 sports a 16 megapixel rear camera with an f1.9 aperture. Unlike the A7 2016, there is no optical image stabilization here. That feels like a weird step back. That said, images shot with this camera turned out quite well. Under good light, there's a lot of detail. The color reproduction is natural. The f1.9 aperture makes for some nice shallow depth of field. The dynamic range is quite excellent too. Under low light though, the performance dips as expected. The A7 2017 still manages to produce usable images. Here are a few more samples. As far as video goes, it's capped at 1080p and is quite the standard affair. The detail and colors are good. Lack of OIS is a con though. The selfie camera has received a major bump. This is now a 16 megapixel f1.9 shooter too. Does quite well for selfies. Next up, let's talk software. The A7 2017 runs on Android 6 Marshmallow with Samsung's latest Grace UX on top. Despite not being a flagship device, Samsung has not omitted basics like gyroscope or the ambient light sensor here. And like I just mentioned, the support for always on display functionality as well. That's a welcome addition. I liked having it on, though it did increase the battery drain a bit. By the way, if you don't like how the interface looks, you can always change it by quickly swapping it out with one of the themes from the included theme store. The home screen also gets force touch like shortcuts for its icons. Other Samsung regulars like the multi-window mode to run two apps side by side, or the floating window mode for enhanced multitasking, the secure folder or ultra power saving mode, they all make a return. They're all present and accounted for. There are only two major omissions here. One, haptic feedback's been disabled. As always, you can enable it for the keyboard with a third-party keyboard app, but for the recent apps and back keys, you're out of luck. Number two, the camera app has a depreciated Pro mode, just the basic features here, ISO, white balance and so on. Well, it might have been acceptable a few years back. Phones like the Moto G4 Plus and the G5 Plus have the feature built in, like the entire Pro mode, despite costing half of what the A7 2016 does. That said, overall the performance here is good, the user experience is good. With day-to-day usage, whether it's watching videos or browsing or gaming, the A7 2017 managed to remain smooth and fluid for the most part. With that, we now get to the price. The Galaxy A7 2017 is currently priced at 32,000 rupees here in India, while being sold for about $425 in other markets. At this price, it's competing with the likes of the OnePlus 3T. In my honest opinion, if you are willing to look past the Samsung branding, then the OnePlus 3T or even other lower priced options like the Xiaomi Mi 5 are viable alternatives. If you do, however, want to stick to Samsung, then the A7 2017 is not a bad option. But if I were you, I'd probably consider paying a little bit more and getting the excellent Galaxy Note 5. It might be an older phone, but it is a flagship. It still has that Exynos 7420, which is an excellent chip, by the way. Much better, much more powerful than the 7880 over here. It's built better, has a higher resolution display, a better camera, and the S Pen, of course. Better everything barring probably the selfie camera. So, anyway, that's it for my 2 cents on the Galaxy A7 2017. Do you agree with what I've had to say in this video? Let me know in the comments below. If you do want to pick a A7 2017 up, I'll be leaving direct links in the description. Use them, that helps the channel out. So if you hated this video, go ahead, vote it down. But if you did like it, vote it up and hit that subscribe button down below if you haven't already. If you have already subscribed, do this to make sure you get notified each time a new video goes live here on C4eTech. So that's it. Thanks a lot for watching. Till next time, this is Ash here from C4eTech signing off. You guys have a great day. Bye-bye now.